evening and welcome to this Chess and Wine. My name is AD Bila. Coming back now with some more, not actually not interest, not updates, but just some more information on the African Youth Chess Championships. Because the African Youth Chess Championship is actually the most. It is. I don't know. Maybe the African Juniors is above it, but I think it's one of the most prestigious youth junior champion event, chess events in Africa and the continent. So it's one of the best events, which a whole lot of chess careers have been launched. I know Vanilla Mango's chess career was launched in the African youth, the 2017 in Egypt, and then the 2018 one, which was in Kenya, where he won the FIDE Master title from it. I know there's also your players like your Caleb Leviton's chess career has been launched there. That's where most players shoot to fame. I know Michael Simpson have launched their careers in the African youth. There's the Miasta Tiziano, who's also won it, I think, in the previous years. There's who else? There's there's a whole lot of junior players that we know that they shot up to fame, to stardom in chess through the African Youth Chess Championships. And right now it's happening right in our background, South Africa, in Gauteng. And it's obviously supposed to be a very exciting thing. But again, there's a whole lot happening around it, which risk it becoming I don't know, risk it not going the best way possible. We all know Gauteng Federation, the Gauteng is very, very capable of hosting a very big event. We've seen in the interregionals, even though this African Youth Chess Championship is not as big. The interregionals, in fact, were not as big as the African Youth is anticipated to be. So here's an interesting thing. We all know, as organizers, as people that have organized tournaments, you know that for the success and failure of an event depends mostly on timeous registration by players, obviously officials, administrators, letting people know that they're interested and they're going to be there in time, right? That's why we obviously have things such as closing dates. And the events that I know which had failed, which I've tried to host and they failed dismally. And obviously they happen. The people that are there do get to play, but the one thing that affects the smooth running of it is people registering very late, right? Like people coming in the morning and say, "Hey, I'm interested in playing. Can I play?" And then you're like, "Ish," and you can't turn back players because sometimes you as a player, you're that passionate. But if you were just one of those administrators that didn't care, you'd be like, I cared more about the event running smooth than than the players. You would go like, you know what? Closing date is close, you leave, and so forth and so forth. But some players will beg you and say, I'm even willing to forfeit the first round if it's okay. I just want to play. Even if it means I only play 4 games in the tournament. You allow them. You let them in. And maybe sometimes that's where you start experiencing some trouble. But again, what can we say, right? It happens, right? So here's what's happening with the African Youth Chess Championships. I know that in the previous video I spoke about the Eswatini debacle, where Eswatini, realizing that they were having challenges with their passports and they're going to register very late after they're going to conclude, or they're going to fix their passport issues after the closing date. They try to make arrangements with the organizers of Gauteng Chess, who are in fact of the African Youth Chess Championship, which is after Gauteng Chess, to say, hey, please reserve our spaces. We are coming. This is how many of us that are coming, and so forth. But without the proper confirmation, apparently, the organizers could not reserve their space, right? And in that way, that's the most concerning thing, is that they lost their privileges, the player privileges, for the players who are meant to be the invited players. Like for every age group, from under 8 up to under 20, they'll have one invited player. That's the rule, right? They have one invited player that is taken care of, that is catered for completely by the organizers. When organizers will just dismiss and say, because of late registration, you are no longer an invited player because you did not confirm in time, even though you did communicate to say that you're going to be having challenges. Some might say it's just organizers trying to cut costs, but they may be wrong, they may be right. But here's the thing, though. This is what is happening right now. It turns out that over 6 national federations have delayed sending in their registrations. They waited past the closing date. And that has caused Gauteng Chess the organizers, to reserve a smaller venue that covers only up to 600 players. Now, here's the funny thing. Kenya as a federation. Kenya is like, well, I'm gonna dare say that it's one of the biggest. Maybe it's the biggest. I mean, by the looks of things, obviously by the fact that people are winning cars in Kenya, or by the look of the numbers of the biggest chess federation in Africa right now. Because remember, I don't remember ever seeing any other country, national federation, hosting a national event that hosted over 5,000 players. Remember, Kenya just did that, right? So their national event, their national juniors, hosted over 5,000 players. And now, as expected, now, because most of those players qualify from such a national event, right? As expected, they now come to the African Youth Chess Championships with a huge number. Apparently, they had over 200 players plus 100 plus accompanying persons and administrators. So that means they had a contingent of over 300 people that they wanted to bring to this venue, which now has only been booked for 600 people. So how think the organizers may have flopped here. Because as per communication, the African Chess Confederation has requested that Gauteng reserves a space or a playing venue for 1,000 athletes. 1,000. And they go and book a venue for 600 people, right? Based on the people that have registered probably by the closing date, or based on their summation of assessment of things, thinking, okay, these are the number of countries that have chairs, these are how many people they are bringing, and it turns out the African Chess Confederation knows what they're talking about, because they have been run. This is like the 15th African Youth Chess Championship, as far as from what I see. Right? So that means they know how many players show up. So if they say 1,000, book for 1,000, you book for 1,000. So now the problem is that there's a whole lot of this federation which are requesting for late registration. And they're saying, just like the players that will come in and say, even if I miss the first round, it's fine. But they're saying, even if we have to pay penalties, it's fine. But the organizers are saying that we don't have enough venue, we have enough space in the venue because we've only booked the venue for 600 people. And now it's becoming like a serious issue. So nobody knows what to do. It's so crazy. It's so complicated. It's so confusing. Everybody's head is boiling. It's crazy. Like, it's one of those things, the stresses of becoming an organizer. Apparently, some federation has been told that they need to reduce the number of players that they're sending, even though they already reserved spaces for them. Now imagine when you have like how many people, like say for instance, Kenya first had 300 people that they were meant to go there, 300 plus people, right? 200 plus people. That's probably like 15 to 20 per section, because it's about 12 sections, and 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Right? Yeah, about there, right? So now imagine if this is happening to them, and now they're saying we have to reduce the numbers from 20, from the 20 that was initially registered, to maybe now 10 per age group. So now players that have already paid, players that have already confirmed, players that have already planned are now asked to change their plans. Federations who have already booked transportation, plane tickets, and so forth and so forth, because some of them do these things in time, right? Like, they've already booked all of it. They now have to an ACC and Gauteng Chess needs to do something about this. Come on. I mean, you can always get a bigger venue. I mean, for start, to say, because again, we are also aware of the fact that a lot of countries don't want, not very keen on running the African Youth Chess Championships or any other African event for that matter, because what happens usually is they get to be left with a huge debt because of whether it's hotel bills, or it is, I've heard a story of Malawi previously where they hosted the African Individual Chess Championships and they were left with huge debts and such, and I'm sure it's the same thing with the African Youth Chess Championship, and that is why apparently there were not that many bidders for the event, right? Because it's the costs they're tremendous. Because remember, as a hosting federation, you have to pay for the arbiters, you have to pay for they call them talent scouters, the fair play monitors, fair play officials. You have to pay for invited players, and that is about 12 per federation. 12 per federation. And then if there's 10 federation that is registered, that means like 120 players have to be paid for by the organizers. That's accommodation, that's catering, that's taking care of them for the whole duration of the event. How many is that? So apparently the costs go up to above 300,000 rands. Arbiter fees, venue fees, hotel accommodation, and so forth. So these are such things that you don't accept unless you are sure you have the cost, you have the sponsorship to obviously to cater for all of that. Again, we can't be feeling sorry for the organizer that raised their hand and say, I can do it. Because you raise your hand because you are aware of your capabilities. You raise your hand because you're promising to give the best. It's not like you're doing, it's not a favor. Or because you see what you can benefit as well. Like it always is a win-win situation, right? You see that obviously I'm going to give them this, but I'm also going to get a benefit from in this way. Like we can't be always siding with organizers. Like this is adult, responsible people that have said, you know what, we are up for it because they've got the support of the government, probably they've got the support of the private sector, probably they've got the support of the whole region that they are representing, the province. In fact, this is, I mean, imagine 1,000 people flocking into to Gauteng. This is sports tourism. It's a big thing. I'm thinking host the what's who's this guy what's this Mojo Chess Club could also run the organizers of Mojo Chess event could also be able to run something like this. I don't know. I mean, they've always hosted a very big event with good sponsors. They should bid for such things. But let us see if Gauteng can do it, because I believe they could. I mean, they were supposed to be hosting the Commonwealth Championship, which is even an even bigger event, but couldn't because of the South African politics. But anyways, now we're here. The African Youth Chess Championships is due to take place very soon. I mean, it's already June and it's starting now in June, I believe, right? So yeah, man. Hey, Federation administrators, don't take up a position if you know you don't have enough time for it, because now you've got countries, national federations, which have to be turned back because the administrators have delayed in securing the spaces, even though they were collecting the funds from the parents and players and clubs and sponsors for these players. And they knew that the event was definitely going to be happening. I mean, it's not like there was ever a year where they say, I'm sorry, the African Youth Chess Championship is not going to be happening this year. No. So they had to, right? Like, I don't know. Like, it's so crazy. Why did the administrator delay in securing spaces for this event, for their players? Right? Maybe there's many stories. Maybe there's more stories will start coming. Like Eswatini had issues with their passports. What's the story with Lesotho, for instance? I don't know. What's the story with Ghana? But Ghana apparently is already confirmed. What's the story with Algeria, maybe? What's the story with... What other countries are there that haven't yet registered? But anyways, well, these are there's some pictures of the countries that have already registered that are there flocking. But we're hoping for more countries. I see Mauritania is there. There's Congo. There's... Anyways. Yeah, we look forward to experiencing and seeing it firsthand in our home ground and keep you updated of what's going to be happening in the African Youth Chess Championships. This is Chess and Wine. Whew, my goodness. Good evening.